Here, on the crowded place, there was a first explosion.
So how far were you from where the first explosion took place, Kate?
I was very near. I was very, very, very near. Very near I was. And after the first explosion, we saw this doors were flying and windows were flying, and everyone were crying, and children and old people on the floor. And I saw so many injured people, you know, and I took photos. I did not know how to help them, you know. I'm not a doctor, I'm a journalist. And when I realized that I was alive first, I did it. First, what I did, I took pictures. And then I tweeted and put on the Facebook.
Less than a minute later, off to her right, the first explosion. The next one happened in seconds, just to her left. Then, in just 60 seconds, she snapped 14 pictures. No doubt you've seen them. The entire world has. Keteva says she was screaming for doctors.
I took pictures. And then I tweeted and put on the Facebook.
No surprise, though, that those who lurk on the net are quick to condemn her for taking pictures. Your behavior was disgusting, wrote a stranger directly to her email. Instead of assisting people in distress, the only thing you thought of was your own glory.
How you doing? It's all good. It's all good. Thank you so much for everything you did. Thank you very much for everything you've done.
I'm so happy that you are okay.
Well, hey, I've been better. Look,
but you don't remember very well, yeah?
no, I remember everything.
You remember everything?
I never blacked out. I think I blacked out.
The first explosion, Seb instinctively ran, unknowingly right towards the next explosion.
Here, on the crowded place, there was a first explosion.
She has the clues to help them figure out who was where.
Yeah, the pharmacy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here is the pharmacy, so you were standing here. I'm here.
Wow.
It was our fate.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I found you here.
Yeah. I remember falling to the ground and having some kind of bullet wound.
Yeah.
From the bomb. And so I looked down and I couldn't move. I was like kind of swimming through the rubble, and at one point an African guy came and pulled me to around the corner from near the statue. And but the problem is
I remember seeing an explosion, the first explosion near the pharmacy at the airport, and I turned my head and I saw all these people running. And when I got there, I was, you know, I think I blacked out for a little bit, and I remember seeing two little kids to my right, you know, and the little hands were up in the air, and then the whole time I was just trying to tell myself, I'm gonna make it, I'm gonna make it, I'm gonna make it. And when I got I got in that ambulance, then I knew I was good.
What's your feeling about that picture being taken?
I have nothing but gratitude for you taking that picture, because
here comes the money. Here we go. Money talk. Here comes the money.
I guess the gratitude is what I feel the most about how I made it.
Fast forward 8 surgeries and 12 months, and Sebastian is back.
Overall, I can't complain. You know, it's I'm walking. I still got both my legs. I'm alive. You know, it's a lot more than some people can say.
Although his physical recovery's been nothing short of miraculous, he is still haunted by the memories of the twin bombings in the Brussels airport.
I do see the face of the dead woman that was next to me.
And I remember seeing two little kids to my right, you know, and the little hands were up
up in the air, and just moments after the second explosion. And I see her almost every day.
As Sebastian looks back on that life-changing day, he returns to Belgium for the one-year anniversary of the attacks, armed with new information. He now knows he's even luckier than he thought. New surveillance video of the airport check-in area, not yet made public, reveals the second suicide bomber tried to detonate himself just inches away from Sebastian.
So the second terrorist was coming towards me. So I was running towards the gates, but he was coming at me. The terrorist put his hands, raise his hands and detonate the bomb like this. But the first time it doesn't work. And the first time he does it, I'm like right here, like he's on that table right there.
When the bomb finally did go off, Sebastian was just far enough away that he wasn't killed by the blast. But he was still under attack. His hip was shattered by what he always assumed was shrapnel.
From the explosion, from the gunshot, from all those things that happened, I just really haven't.
Now, that turns out not to be the case.
The Belgian authorities say it was from a bomb. The doctor said no, the surgeon said that was a bullet from a gun.
Sebastian believes he was actually shot by airport or military police in the seconds after that bomb went off. Likely a case of mistaken identity.
They saw a big 6'9" guy running with two backpacks. They thought that, maybe it was another one of the terrorists.
That gunfire brought Sebastian down in the spot where this now famous photo was taken.
What I realized is that there was people coming to help and then leaving because everyone thought there was going to be a third explosion. And so I just kind of bullied my way to say, no, I'm out of here. And I was threatening people. I was like, if I stay here and I die, it's on your conscience.
He convinced a young airport worker to help his 6'9" frame onto a luggage cart and move him to the front of the terminal. Bellin had lost 50% of his blood and was rushed to the hospital and taken into surgery.
I was 50 yards, not even away from a major bomb blast that took out, half of an airport. And yet I still have both my legs. My tibia was multi-fragmented. So basically it means the bone blew up. They drilled a nail into my tibia. So they had to put a pin into my femur and reconnect it with a nail to my hip socket. There was no fracture here, it was just a hole straight to the bone. They took skin from here and closed the two major wounds.
So I'll be the first to admit that these injuries look quite genuine. I mean, there's scars on his legs and there's a bit missing out the back of his leg where they've clearly done some sort of skin graft. But the thing is his story is just wrong. So why is he lying about the story if his injuries are genuine? So my first thoughts are that this is actually a basketball-related injury. So whilst I can't find any news article about a possible career-threatening injury, the only thing I could find was a video from 2012 where he's discussing about surgery to do with his back and his legs.
A chip was stuck in my sciatic nerve, and therefore I had pain shooting down my leg. I had a lot of back pain, and I played with that condition for a whole month. And at the end, I tried injections, I tried anti-inflammatories, I tried everything possible, and after a month, I could barely walk, and I had surgery. So after the surgery, it was the usual treatments, a lot of core exercises, a lot of flexibility work, and but after a month and a half, 2 months, I started training again, and but I had complications. I had stress. There was a scar tissue all over it, and really my flexibility was terrible. And what I really liked about this new treatment and this new way of facing the post-surgery was that you immediately saw results, and it was something that I wasn't used to. It was something that my body not only had to adapt itself to, but it was sort of like it pushed my body to newer levels of rehabbing. And if you go see someone and they introduce you to a new method, and right away you see results at the first time. My flexibility was better, my motion was better. It was like, before I went in, I couldn't put my chest on my knees, sitting up, and all of a sudden I could go down again. So it immediately gave me a lot of enthusiasm. It gave me a lot of positive energy, and from there I started gradually building. So a scarf laying on the ground became my tourniquet, which I tried to grab, and became my tourniquet. A suitcase was where I asked somebody, because in most excruciating pain, to lift my legs up onto the suitcase so to stop the flow of blood. A passage cart, a cart in the background, became a way for me to become mobile, because I couldn't walk out. So I asked somebody to bring me the cart. And they put me onto the cart, unbelievable pain, and they rolled me to the back of the airport, where all the dead and all the injured were being summoned or gathered. And at one point I realized every time they were moving how much blood I was losing, and I knew that at my time it was almost my time. And I asked to be rolled to the front of the airport. I said, roll me to the front of the airport. And they said, no, you got to stay here. All the policemen with their machine guns, because they thought there was going to be a third explosion. I was caught in the second explosion. And I said, look, if I stay here, I'm going to die. So just push me to the front of the airport. And it's very tricky. It's very tricky to be able to make decisions that sometimes a bad decision can cost your life, and a good one can save your life. And you're conscious with that. But being connected to the moment makes you make better decisions. And so I said, look, put me to the front of the airport and leave me there. And some young guy just pushed the cart to the front of the airport, and I remember him pushing and then running back to safety. And I was there for a few minutes by myself, just wondering. And luckily, around the corner came 6 firemen that saw me. I was like, hey, need some help over here? And they picked me up and took me outside and rolled me to the triage place. The night before, I had been in Paris all day for meetings, and I hadn't eaten anything, and I was starving. And I said, I just want to go back to the hotel, just want to sleep. And I said, you know what? No, let's go out to dinner. And these really 2 good friends of mine that are. So I said, let's go to this little restaurant that I always go to, and they came with me. And the night before, we sit down and I order a bowl of pasta carbonara, which I love. And I'm sitting there and I just wolf it down, And the waiter comes out and says, that wasn't big enough for you? And I go, no, the quality is amazing, but the quantity really needs working on. He got really offended. He went to tell the chef and everything. And so the chef came back and said, you want more? I said, you sure? And he came back with a double portion of pasta carbonara. And I wolfed everything down. And the next day when the attacks happened, the doctors to this day still don't understand. Well, they understand now, but I'm not going to give away the punchline. They couldn't understand why I didn't pass out. Why I had the energy to stay alive, when I had the energy. And they looked at all the supplements I took, and all the training that I did, they did everything. Until I told them about the pasta carbonara. And they said, listen, we've never seen it before, but pasta carbonara saved your life because your blood sugar index was so high. Your glycemic index was so high that you lived. So the moral of the story is never give up on a second portion of pasta carbonara.
So there you have it. If you've lost 50% of your blood, you can just simply replace it with pasta. Sorry for the length of this video, but it's important that you understand the different versions of events depending on the circumstances at the time. On the day, different to once they've spoken to the news, and certainly once they've had a good long think about it, the story develops into something completely different. And certainly this particular presentation is nothing more than a comedy stand-up routine. But the next video I'm going to upload is half an hour long, but it's absolutely essential that you watch it because it is a really good video. It's really well done, so I'll give all the credit to the person who made it once I've uploaded it. So thanks again for watching. Bye bye.